Hey, this is Brian Finnell, and you're now watching On the Beat.
Should I start telling? Is that what's?
Ladies and gentlemen, not the format I'm used to. Hi guys, I'm Brian Finnell, and I'm so full of white guilt that I cried the other day watching Cool Runnings. It's pretty brutal. I had a guy judge me on the street the other day. He's like, "What do you for what I was eating for dinner?" He was like, "Ham and cheese for dinner, pussy. What, you can't cook?" He's like, "Yo, what's for dessert?" And I was like, "Whatever bite-sized piece of candy came in this Lunchable. Get the fuck in my face with that shit." Another guy come up to me. He was in a van. He got out of a van. He goes, "Hey, man, you got any change for the homeless?" I was like, "You're not homeless. You have a van." He's like, "No, that's all I have." I was like, "That van's got a mini fridge. You're not homeless." He's like, "No, really, man, that's all I got." I was like, "Dude, there's a tiny TV and an out-of-date game console in there. You were not fucking homeless." She's like, "No, man, I really am homeless." I'm like, "You need a driveway and a cool uncle, and you're just Cody from Step by Step. You're not fucking homeless. Get out of my face." Another guy come up to the street. He goes, "Hey, man, you look like you should smell like weed." I was like, "Step closer. Fucking hit this joint, asshole." I like to smoke weed more than I like drinking. I don't do too many. Like, I know you guys are sponsored by PBR, but I'm not, I get too blackout drunk, and when I get blackout drunk, I send those embarrassing texts. Everybody sent those before. You never do that when you smoke weed. There's never an embarrassing text message. You type it all out. You forget to hit send, right? That might be too stereotypical. Maybe you type it all out. You do hit send, but it's never anything embarrassing. It's always something like, "Yo, pick up a pizza," you know. I only smoke weed. I won't eat it. I can't do edibles. Fuck those things. When you smoke weed, you can gauge it. Like on a scale to 1 to 10, like 1 being like, "Oh, he's just shy," 10 being like, "Who brought the homeschooled kid to the graduation party?" That's not the case when you eat an edible. An edible, like 45 minutes to an hour goes by, and then that high shows up, and it's not subtle about it. It's not like, "Hey, man, if you need me, I'll be over here." That shit doesn't happen. Edibles show up like the Kool-Aid guy. They kick in your wall, and they're like, "I'm here, you're stoned, yes, everyone's staring at you." Only without that squeaky voice. All right. My biggest fear is diabetes and volcanoes, because fuck those things. But diabetes, it's not so much diabetes as much as it is losing a leg to diabetes, because that's the shittiest way to lose a leg. Can you imagine being at an amputee support group, which I imagine is a thing? I was exchanging their war stories. The guy in the army fatigues in the corner, like, "What happened to you, man?" He's like, "Iraq, 2008, car bomb almost wiped out my whole unit." We're like, "Well, thank you for protecting our oil," or whatever the fuck you were doing over there. You get to the next guy, surfing-looking dude. You're like, "What happened to you, man?" He's like, "Surfing off the coast of California, 2005. Shark came out of nowhere. Had to punch him in the face several times to get him loose. Would have stabbed him, but the knife I had was strapped to the leg he just bit off." Like, whoa, that's fucking ridiculous. They get to you, he knows what's up. They get to you, diabetes guy, like, "What's your story, man? What happened to you?" You're like, 2012, Wawa was a king-size Snickers and a 16-ounce Red Bull. Because Red Bull's never given anybody wings, it's just given them diabetes. Like a really bad case of kidney stones. That's good. All right, thank you.
Okay. We are good.
Hello.
What's going on, y'all? I want to say welcome to my friend Brian Finnell.
Hello.
Okay, so I want to start off by saying, Brian, I'm totally sorry. I apologize. We made the flyer for this event here at Brewery Town Beats, December 21st. And not only did I mess up your last name, I messed up your first and last name were spelled wrong in the flyer.
I seen the last name. I was like,
Brain.
It happens, but you said Brain? Dog, I was in all the special education classes. That doesn't even make sense.
Dude, I spelled your first and last name wrong.
Brain Finnell. It's
I'm
good.
sorry. And you know what's even crazier?
I'm over this interview. I'm sorry.
You know what's even crazier is that I copied and pasted that from somewhere, which is even
So that's been done before.
That's like on the internet as Brain Finnell.
That's good. I'm making. That's
So my friend Brain here. No. How you doing, my friend?
I'm a little hungover.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
How's that PBR making you?
Hair of the dog.
Okay.
It's still PBR though. It's.
Would you say that PBR is the best of the worst of the beers?
Yes.
Is the best of the worst?
I would go with yeah.
How's your relationship with? Is it Genesee? How do you pronounce that?
Guinness?
Genesee or Genesee?
I don't even.
You know what I'm talking about. That beer is it Genesee or Genesee? It's
Genesee?
Yeah.
I don't have a relationship with it at all.
I try it out.
We have no
I
relationship.
never knew the bitch. All right.
Yeah.
So you saw how long you been doing comedy? You say?
5 years.
Okay. I saw some of your stuff, and I wanted to point out there was this YouTube clip of you, and it's fucking awesome. Of you in a Philly comedy cabaret, and someone's talking the entire time, and then you're like, "Shut the fuck!" Like it was madness, and you still went to the set.
Well, what happened was there was somebody talking in the far back, and it wasn't enough to just like disrupt the set. So I kept going, and then people started trying to shush him. And then shushers were trying to shush the shushers. And then eventually when I went to go make note of it, I turned to tell them to shut the fuck up, and they were fist fighting.
Whoa.
So it's like, I guess I'm just going to wait this out.
And the line you said after that was classic. Do you remember what you said?
No, not at
You
all.
said, a fight in a comedy club is like a marriage license at a gay bar. I was like, wow, that's fucking crazy. So that was my first experience with Brain here.
With Brain, yeah.
So how would you... I was like doing some research and stuff, and I was like, well, how would you have Brian explain himself? People were like, oh, he's self-deprecating, or he's like, I think that's a little. You're kind of a little more complex than that. I think.
I don't think so.
Really? I don't think it's that easy. I think you're self-deprecating, but a little silly. Like you're not taking it to heart. You know. I think you're a little. It's like wacky.
I grew up as the fat kid among athletes, so I had to be self-deprecating.
Okay.
I just had to deal with it.
How'd you find comedy? How did you find it?
Well, when I was younger, my parents were my whole family is very comedic. Like I started watching Mel Brooks movies way too young to watch Mel Brooks movies, and then my parents realized that I had such a connection with comedy that I enjoyed it so much. They showed me Bill Cosby himself.
Okay.
They're like, you got to watch this, and that was my first experience with stand-up. I was like, I want to do that.
Okay.
And then for years I put it off because I was like, I don't think I can do that. And then I did it one night.
What was your first gig, first set?
First set was at Helium on their open mic.
Okay.
And for the first time, I thought I had a really good set. I had no idea it was such a young comic. So
Right.
I didn't know what a good set was.
Did you get
at the time.
laughs?
I got laughs, but I like blacked out mid the set, like mentally. And I got off. I was like, I asked my only friend that I allowed to come. I was like, "How did I do?" He's like, "You really funny up there." And I was like, "All right." And then I ate shit for about a year just working near other open mics.
Right.
I could say shit, right?
Yeah, shit. Whatever. Rachel was saying dick the whole time.
That's not really surprising, Rachel.
So how do you come up with your material? Do you write it down, or is it like improv?
It's a little bit of everything. I just have imagination, I guess.
I mean, okay, cut the shit. I've been talking to comedians for a lot. I'm not a professional comedian, but it just comes from God to the audience's ears. What does it come from? And I mean, like people just born funny, or
it could, for me, I work with just me. Like my day job is just me and my boss. So I have a whole day of just me talking to myself just to try to get through. So I'll say something stupid and like I'll say like a line in my head and be like, oh, I got to build a joke around that line and then go from there.
Okay. That's cool. So how are you? Do you have any material out? CDs, DVDs?
No. Nope. Just what you see on YouTube.
Just
and apparently one of
that
those
video.
videos is under Brain Finnell. So So it's either Brian or Brain Finnell is where you can find my material.
Totally call your album that. How can we get to know more about Brian Finnell? How do we know
you
more
can
about?
follow me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, I guess.
You don't have anything coming up? Well, this will probably
I have-
show up in the February, but do you have anything that we could come see you consistently?
In
Brian, do you do
February?
stand-up comedy? Like, what is this?
No, I just hope to get booked. I just hang out front of the clubs. Like, Rick doesn't know. The guy who booked me, he has no idea.
Shout out to Rick Giuliani for
Yeah.
inviting all the comedians. What is it? Comedians?
Comics, comedians.
For inviting everybody out. Shout out to Julie.
Degenerates.
Giuliani. Yeah. So how do we? So just your Twitter, your Facebook.
Yeah, Twitter, Facebook. If I have a show, I'll put it up, and you can find me there.
Okay, cool, man. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for hanging out, my friend.
Likewise.
All right, and make sure you check out Brian Finnell. All right.
Or Brain somewhere.
Or Brain.
It's somewhere listed as Brain. Hey, this is Brian Finnell, and remember, always stay true, always stay tuned, and always stay on the beat.